Hi everyone, Vegas film critic here, Jeffrey K. Howard here to review the horror thriller film Lights Out from director David Sandberg. Is that his name? David F. Sandberg. And I guess this was based on a short film that he did that was on Facebook or online somewhere. He did a short version of this about, essentially this is about being afraid of the dark. And I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids that had a nightlight. I was one of those kids that thought something was underneath my bed and if you moved it would come attack you. So I really had a bad time with being alone in the dark, you know, so I had a bad childhood with that. I know it's silly to say that today. Even today in the dark I kind of freak out, you know, so I don't know why. And someone says, why are you afraid of the dark? And I'm like, I would always reply, it's what's in the dark. So essentially we have Maria Bello, who's had a life in mental institutions, and she has a daughter, Rebecca, played by Teresa, who's also got a little brother, played by Gabriel Bateman. And Gabriel keeps showing up at his older sister's house and just an apartment saying, you know, Mom is losing it. She's talking to somebody. I'm seeing this strange creature, this person in our house that Mom is always talking to. First of all, I have to tell this is a spoiler review because this is a movie that you just can't dance around. You have to talk about what makes this movie work and what doesn't make this movie work, and there's just no way to do this without being a spoiler. So this whole review is going to be a spoiler review. If you don't want to watch this, wait till you see the movie, come back and see how right I was, but I've tried to figure this out. If you want to watch the trailer, then you pretty much know go into the movie, this is the kind of film, but we're here to discuss, does this new thriller from producer James Wan, does it work? So I just wanted to get that up front. So you have this little brother who shows up to his sisters and said, Mom's talking to somebody and this person is hurting me and I've got all these bruises and Child Protection Services gets involved, but you know, they keep monitoring everything. So essentially there's this creature, there's this ghost, there's this entity named Diana. Can you believe this? Great. It's like we had this entity named Diana, and she is made friends with Maria Bello back when they were in the loony bin together, and she was experimented on. She had this disease where, you know, she's sensitive to light, where it's actually, you know, can burn your skin and all that. Well, they were doing experiments on her, I guess, and she died. And now she lives in limbo along with Maria Bello in her house. This is such a weird concept. And so she doesn't want anyone else to take away Maria Bello's attention. She wants to live happily ever after. She's essentially trapped Maria Bello in her house, and Diana's got these claws, and she looks like something from The Grudge. And you never really get to see her because the lights keep flickering off and on. And so she can't be in any kind of light, either in life and in death. Now, one thing, I just don't understand what Diana is. Is she an entity? Is she a ghost? Is she something like the X-Men? You know, after they experimented on her, she becomes, you know, some sort of mutant. It really doesn't go into that. And what's annoying about that is that you're trying to determine she can like go different places. If she just haunted this one place, but she doesn't, she can all of a sudden pop up anywhere she wants to. So it just really doesn't make any sense to me why they don't define what Diana is. And it's not a good vagueness, you know, where you're like, oh, you know, this is really entertaining and we can figure out what Diana, you know, kind of like discuss what it is. It's just kind of lame because it's a one-trick scare the entire film. She can't go in the light, so the lights are coming down. But you just think to yourself, essentially she's a vampire. Vampires can't go out in the daytime. So there's lots of ways when you figure out, early on, we all figure out that light hurts Diana, so our characters are constantly putting themselves in when they're dark. So this is really a silly, silly thriller. One thing about David F. Sandberg, the director, is he tried to use original light as much as possible, and very little CGI. And it really comes across as a really kind of a beautiful looking film. It's got some really great setting and some mood, but then you're just trying to figure out, what's this Diana creature doing? What is she up to? Is she that selfish, you know? And Teresa, Teresa Palmer, God, I'm going blank. Teresa Palmer has a boyfriend that just doesn't believe what's going on. You know, it's just, this is a really poorly constructed film. Well, David F. Sandberg impressed James Wan enough to where he's going to be doing Annabelle 2, and also you know, I think he's got to grow a little bit more, but I think this film did work all because of Diana and how the characters react around that. If you know this entity is in this house and you know how to combat it, it doesn't make any sense to me why they don't kind of like get together and figure things out. So it's just, you know, constant light switching off and on and something in the light. After the first 3 or 4 kind of scares, you just kind of go, all right, this is kind of silly. All right, for more reviews and interviews, just surf on over to my website, vegasfilmcritic.com. Also, if you like what you see, please subscribe, comment below, share. I'm Jeffrey K. Howard. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.